All right, we are going to be acting like wabbits today because we're going to be multiplying. Technically, wabbits don't multiply; they do. Uh, they expand exponentially. If you think about that, okay. Don't forget hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell. Now this is very difficult. Okay, I hope some of y'all are wearing your open-toed shoes because you may need to use that to do this math. Okay, I see some of y'all are you're staring hard at your screens of your calculator, not your phone, not your tablet, not your Chromebook. Okay. All right. So multiply by monomial. So we're multiplying something by monomial. Remember yesterday we learned our terms. Oh wait, we did not. Oh yeah, we did say these were by and try. All right. So this is our monomial. This one term. Okay. And so we're actually going to use a distributive property, okay, like passing stuff out. Like our very favorite day of the week when all the desks are lined up in rows and columns and y'all get a white piece of paper and I distribute the test. You get one, you get one. Some of y'all need to take three. But anyways, all right. So we're multiplying, all right? So we're going to multiply the 3 times the 2 and then we're going to add the 1 plus the 1. All right. Now, this is again breaking it very, as Drill Sergeant K used to say, I'm breaking it down Barney style. So if you're not stealing my oxygen, hopefully you get this. I'm just going to leave that one alone. That's a trap. That somebody said what? That's going to end up getting me in trouble. All right. So what is 3 times 2? 6. All right. Now with the x's, adding the exponents. What is 1 plus 1? 2. And we are done with that part. Now, what I like to do, because I had a life before teaching and I have also a life outside of teaching that keeps me somewhat sane, is I like to mark things out because it kind of is like pew, like it goes away. It also helps me be able to function in a normal society, to not physically harm barnacles. I mean, worthless people. I mean, people I deem inferior. Some people. So that way it actually helps me get the next one. Okay, so this looks like a -5 times a 3, and then the x. So this one looks a little bit easier. So it's where this one doesn't have an x. So what is -5 times 3? Exactly, -15, and then an x, and that is it. Well, us math teachers, we like to really sucker y'all in with something easy for the first one so we have your attention and then we hit you with a hard one next. We let you, come on in and wow! Okay. We hit you with a boom pow. I could actually do a better reach on my shoulder if I didn't have a lucky fin. Okay. Now, we're going to go through the same steps. All right. So, we're going to have -6. All right, this is y to the 1 plus, what's this exponent? 2. Okay. Now, psst, hey, big guy. These are questions you can easily get there. All right. So, and then we mark this out. Then we move it on down the line. So, and then negative 6 times 2. This is y to the 1 plus 1. All right, so negative 6 times 2, this is negative 12. Okay, let's see. 1 plus 1. 2. Ho, 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 ho. Some people have their head bonded to another part of their body. Some people got that. Other people are like, just because they're already there. All right. And then negative 6 times negative 5. Oh, and then we're going to just tag along the y. All right. Negative 6 times negative 5. And then we just put on the y. If I would have actually wrote neater, which that would make sense, and why would I do that? There we go. So, one of the Calebs, let's see, we have 2 of the 3 Calebs here today. Still have all 16 Davids. Uh, that they said, I'm not gonna be here today because of the trap meet. I said, what'd you make on the test? They told me. I said, you're gonna be okay. I said, because when we do the review, and I'm also recording the lesson. This, hey, I was out. That should mean I don't know. No. Be proactive. Be an American, not an Americant. Exactly. All right. So, number 1 right here. Y times 3y. 3y to the what? 1 plus 1, which is 2. Exactly. Because that's what you're going to say in your head, correct? Yeah. Or you're going to write it down. Or you're going to watch it on your screen beside your anime and your YouTube and your whatever with your stuff and the things and your Care Bears. Okay, now, all right. And then y times 2. What is y times 2? 2y. Wow. It's kind of crazy. It's almost like all we're doing is multiplying and adding. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I know. It's almost like, what if we weren't good at multiplying and adding? I really wish we had a tool at our disposal. Instead of being a barnacle. All right. Moving on. Apparently we have 2 number 1s. Because sometimes, hey, you know what? If everybody gets a participation trophy, everybody's number 1, okay? So, well, I didn't feel that crappy today. All right. So this is. Oh, I can't wait till I'm 112 and still making those jokes. Okay, so X. What? Okay, ready? What is 2 plus 2? All right. On down the line. What is 4 times 2? 8. All right, with the x's, what is 2 plus 1? All right, now this is a negative. This is a positive times a negative, so I'm going to get a negative. What is 4 times 4? Do we have any other x's? Just this one right here. We don't have anything right here. So we just tag it along. Okay? And that's it. Wow. Super duper crazy hard, right? All right. Now, I added another. Okay, there's 3 ways. Normally I only teach 2. I'm going to add the third one in because so many people, either through asking their parents, looking on YouTube, or using photo math and it showing them FOIL in the spring, in the, sorry, not the spring, in last semester, a lot of photo math people. A lot of photo math people. I'm going to show you 3 different ways. You get to choose your method. Now, if you know Miss Sparks, if you don't know who Miss Sparks is, don't worry about it. Miss Sparks is going to love the middle way. Okay? Just going to let you know. She's going to love FOIL. All right? So, multiplying binomials. It's a binomial times a binomial. Okay? Hey, do you need to take a walk because you're continuously getting louder and louder? Are you good? You can reel it in? Are you sure? Because louder and louder, that bothers me. Like what talking about weather bothers you. All right. So, double distributed property. A lot of students like this. Okay? It's a pick your poison. You like either one, okay? So we take the first term, we judo chop it. Okay? We take the first term, we put it here. We take the second term and put it here. And then guess what we do from there? Yeah, we multiply. We do the distributive property twice. Hence the phrase double distributive. So we say x times x, which is x squared. X times 5, which is 5x. Two times x, which is 2x. And 2 times 5 is 10. Now, we have done our multiplication. We're going to have to combine like terms like we learned yesterday. Okay, I'll give you a hint on these binomial times a binomial. It's always the 2 middle ones. These 2 middle ones are always going to combine. These 2 middle ones are always going to combine. These 2 middle ones are always going to combine. Have you ever heard if somebody says something more than once, you might want to write it down separately as a reminder? Okay. All right. So, That's what we get. Now, here's the deal, Pickles. We're going to do this 2 more times. Now, you can't pick your method. Oh, that's me. I'm sold. Just, we're going to do all of them. And then you're going to get to pick your method. Okay? Because the first, believe it or not, part of your test on Tuesday, you have to say your method. Yeah, you have to say which method you're using. I actually applied to something on the Tic Tac today that I saw that I thought was genius. I think I'm finally finding my people out there in Tic Tac land where it was a biology teacher. They're setting up tests where it's meant to catch people cheating. Like, so the way that they set it up, that if you Google the question, the first thing that pops up is one of the choices and it's wrong. Yeah, yeah. So like I am like I this next test you'll see on the practice test on Monday that it's set up where you get more points for choosing your method, showing your work than you do for actually answering the question. All right. FOIL. FOIL is what's called an acronym. Anybody there's multiple different places that use acronyms. The two that I'm most familiar with are military and education. Okay, any military families in here? Okay, have you ever, which branch? Okay, have you ever heard somebody say you got a PM's, uh, ah, PCMS, the vehicles or something like this or whatever? Did they ever say something like in the acronym to you? Yeah, okay. All right, and then, good gosh, education, we'll acronym you to death. Yeah, you know, jet lag was learning all this stuff. Refuel. There was actually a word for that. Yeah. All right. So FOIL stands for first. Our first terms right here. So this is our x times x, which is x squared. And I'm going to put the letters. Okay. The O are the outside ones as you look at it, the ones on the outside. So x times 5, 5x. Probably most of your parents, guardians, anybody who's in charge of you may have learned this way. This is the way I learned. Some people are like, that's what's wrong with you. Nobody loved you. Okay, inside, the two terms on the inside as you looked at it. And then these are our last. So, yeah, 2 times 5 is 10. So, now huh? Yeah. So, and we know that these two are going to add together, so that's going to be, x squared plus 7x plus 10. Okay? So that's that method. Some people like it. Okay? Believe it or not, FOIL and double distributive are like cousins of each other. So a lot of people do. A lot of people feel that FOIL is more work because uh, it's not as visual as double distributive as actually doing this. If you actually look at FOIL and you look at double distributive side by side, it's literally the same steps, but with double distributive, you can actually control and see what you're doing better. Can't you? Yeah. No, double distributive, you can see what you're doing better than you can with foil. Foil, you have to remember, okay, what's the inside? Was this look like? Was this look like? Yeah. Okay. And then box method. All right. I like putting the first terms right here. I like putting the second terms on the top. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, biology is lots of warm stuff just smashing around each other. Yep. All right. So what happens? Y'all did this long time ago in your multiplication tables. What is x times x? Well, that's x squared. And then x times 5, and then 2x, and then 10. And then these two are going to combine. All right. So you have, three different ways. Okay. If you are a visual learner, there are definitely two different ways that you could choose from. Okay. More if you're a visual organizing learner. Okay. If you're kind of a what I would call an abstract visual spatial, if you can see stuff and move stuff in your head, not like Jedi mind powers, but if you can actually, yeah, like you can imagine what something would like. My wife can do this. She can go into a room and she can imagine what it would look like if she paints it this color and puts this piece of furniture here and this piece of furniture here. I cannot do that. I cannot. As creative as I am in some things, I cannot see that. She can. I am a visual. Nope. I've got to draw it. Give me a computer program to plug it in there. Give me the Amazon. Take a picture of it. Put it in the room, kind of thing. Okay. I'm so glad that they added that option now. I did that the other day with something that did not need to go in our living room. I'm like, hey, honey, look at this. She said, what is that? Said it's a bee smoker. Why is that? Why'd you put a bee smoker in the living room? I'm like, I just want to see what I'd look in here. I did do that with the dog's bed, though, because that's where it's going to end up being. Okay, now to kind of train y'all about how things are going, all right, we're going to end up doing this. Okay, we're going to come. This is kind of like a your turn. We're going to come back to this. Okay, here in a second. I do want to show you this right quick. These two things, and we're going to come back over this. All right, these special cases. All right, kind of like Mr. Jeffries. My mom says I'm special. Okay, I'm a special case. Yeah, we know. Okay. So look, remember when something is squared, it's that times itself, correct? Yeah. So if you see this, that's what this means. That's why your paper has this right here. Okay? That's what. Oh man, you caught the Oompa Loompa hands. Uh, there's this weird sickness going around with lots of students at school where their hands are turning a really dark brown, orangish, really orange color. It's because it's prom tomorrow. They're trying to get a tan in like less than 24 hours. It's called Oompa Loompaism. Okay. Now, also, when we're doing this, we can't use double distributor or box method, so we're going to go over this later. Now, that's basically our lesson. We're going to come back and do this because I want to let the students choose, ooh, voice cracks, second puberty. Okay, so choose the method that they're working on this. All right, don't forget, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell. Good stuff, good things. Watch out for the Oompa Loopalism. Roll Tide.